of all, I just expect you kids to do your personal best. It's so much harder to do it this way than when I'm in the classroom with you and I can walk around and look at what you're doing and go, no, 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 that's not what I meant. I can't do that now. So it's really important that you read everything I post online and watch every video carefully. Yes, there are moments when you can certainly speed up. I haven't figured out how to do a time lapse yet. Part of the problem is my Mac, the program that I'm trying to use doesn't look like the ones that they're teaching me online. So I'll figure it out. I'll figure everything out eventually, right? About the time we get to go back to the classroom, I'll have this all mastered. Anyway, so I have all my tools here. There's a couple of extra tools that I like to have. A paintbrush. This is a big mop brush, and it's a broom. I use it like a broom. But if you don't have that, maybe you have something that cleans your glasses that you can use to brush off any eraser marks and stuff. So in the last video, hopefully I stopped at the right place. I taught you how to erase back your grid drawing because it's too dark, so that you can have soft edges to work with. I'm really picky about keeping everything really clean, okay? So you'll see me doing that a lot. You'll see here that I have the black and white copy, but this is not what I want you to shade from. What I want you to do is get it up on a device, whether it's a computer or an iPad or your phone or whatever. Get your copy of a master, the one you're going to copy image, up on here, and I'm just going to walk you through this. So you click on it, click edit, and then it'll come up and you'll click this little thing right here, and then scroll until you get a black and white copy. Now you'll have some options. There's that one, there's this one, and there's this one. This one's a little more intense. I actually kind of like that one better, although those are fine, but that's the one I like. So that's the one I'm going to pick. You can pick whichever black and white one you like the best. Click done. And then you have your image turned black and white. This will be extremely helpful for you as you're working on shading. One of the challenges with working with pencils is I've seen a lot of really great artwork ruined with a streaky background. And so I'm going to have you not do anything to the background. Just leave it the white of your paper. And then maybe towards the end I'll show you some tricks. But if you like it with just the white of the paper, then we'll leave it that way. So here we go. All right, so I'm gonna set this aside for a minute. And, ooh, this is the scary part. You're ready to work. Okay, so I am just going to take, I think I'll start with this center image because I think it's probably gonna show up the best on camera. I'm gonna take the center image, which is this long stalk right here, and I'm just gonna start working it. Okay, so I picked up my 6H, which is the hard pencil, and I'll show you a little bit what you can expect from that. Notice I'm holding my pencil to the side and I'm laying it in gently, 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 and I'm just going to shade. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm lifting the pencil between each stroke. I know the tendency is to want to do this and hurry up and get it done. But guess what? That is not our goal, to hurry up and get it done. That's why I wanted the grid pattern all drawn and transferred before the end of third term so that we could spend some really quality time each day shading a little bit at a time so that we can take our time and not feel rushed. Okay, not feel rushed. And so that's nowhere near as dark as I'm going to go, is it? That's okay. I'm just going to very carefully. It's like coloring in the lines. You know how that is. You need to stay in the lines. It won't hurt if you go out the lines here, actually, because that's probably going to be a lighter value, but it's going to be a value. Okay, so I'm not going to do very much of this, so you don't need to fast forward right now. But I'm going to just show you a portion. And you want your strokes to be smooth and even. and patience. Patience is the key. Take your time. There's no reason to hurry up. We don't want to damage the surface of the paper. I cannot express that clearly enough. Now, this particular one, this particular piece I have, does have some hard edges on it. On the edges, that's how my master Katsushika Hokusai did it. So it's okay sometimes to have these hard edges, and what I'm talking about is right here. Okay? And look what I can do. I can zoom in, and can you see that there's ridges in there? There's lines, and so this stroke follows those lines. And it's okay if there's if it's a little lighter press in between, because guess what? That's what his looks like. So you're just going to take your time, and I'm already worrying about this. Look at that, that's already a little bit dirty. So I'm just going to take a plain old piece of paper and put it under my hand, because I really hate it when a really great drawing has smudgies on it. That can also ruin your work, smudgies. Okay, you don't like those. Every time I sit down, I think I've said this before, but every time I sit down to work on something like this, I like to sweep it off, and if I've got smudgies somewhere, I clean them up every time before I start, just because I think that's important. Okay? Alright, so we're just going to keep working this, and I don't want to go all the way up because I don't have enough control to keep it even, so I'm just going to work into it. And notice I'm still not dark enough, so how dark am I going to get? Well, here's where you're going to use your value scale, or your handmade value scale works better because it's done in graphite so that it will be the same color as this. But you're still going to have that translation problem because online it's going to look different because that is done with light and this is done with pencil, and so it's just going to look different no matter what you do. So remember that we take our value scale and we put it on here and we go, okay, squint, squint, squint. As that it is, it's as dark as I can get it, isn't it? So I won't be able to get it quite as dark as that, which may give you a good reason to go back and say, well, then I just want to do it a different gray so that it's not quite so intense, because I can't go that gray. So let's just go down one. Maybe we'll do, I don't know. Let's try that one for right now. I can always switch it if I don't like it, right? Okay, so here it is, a little bit lighter. Now let's check our grayscale. Has it changed? Oh, I think it's probably kind of in between these two. What do you think? Oh, you can't talk back. I think it's probably in between these two darknesses. And so I'm just going to switch now, because I'm just going to do this one little area for you with this concept in mind. And I'm going to switch to my 8B, which is my softest pencil. And I'm just going to put in my, hopefully my final layer, but maybe not. Because remember, you're going to take your time and you're going to keep working. Now, here's something that I really want to make clear to you. If you didn't get the drawing right in the beginning stages, if your grid pattern was a little off, you can still adjust. Shading requires correct shapes, just like drawing requires correct shapes. So even though it's a different element of art that we're working with now, we're working with the element of value. Shadows have shapes too. So this isn't a really hard piece that I've selected this time. Usually I try to get one that's harder than what you guys are doing, but I think this is probably one of the easiest when it comes to shading. Shapes were pretty easy too because they're very clear what the shapes are. The softer edges you have throughout your picture. Oh, I made a big mistake. I'm going to get my kneaded eraser out now, and I'm going to erase that out right now while I'm there. I accidentally went into that little leaf that is going to be quite a bit lighter, and this went over the line, so clean that up good. Maybe I'll come to that right now, and I'll get my hard pencil, which is my 6H, and get that the value that I want. Okay, if it gets too dark of a value, it probably won't. But I noticed with his is outlined even more. This is the one that would have been a good one to have dark edges on. I might not have even had to erase it because he's got a nice hard line around each shape. And because I'm trying to copy a master, I want to be as much like his as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect, of course. If I get that too dark, I can take my kneaded eraser, and just like I taught you in class with your value scale, I can press the kneaded eraser down on there and lift up some of that value. And if it, you know, anytime I erase, I tend to erase around it. That's okay because I know how I did it, and I can always come back in and fix that, right? I hope I can. Now I sharpened all your pencils when I got your kits together so that they should, starting out, be nice and sharp so you can use the edge like I'm showing you. Okay, and it looks like when I lifted that out, I lifted all of it out. Here's another trick I want to show you. This is a really great tool if you treat it right. It's not for pressing like that. It's remember, we hold it like this, and I can usually get just a really nice soft value with that. Okay, nice soft value, still too dark. Come in here and just gently pick up some of that value that I don't want in there. Now you can't do that gently if you have pressed and damaged the paper, can you? So I'm just going to work this one little area until I get it as dark as I want it for you guys. I'm coming in with another layer now, and right now I'm doing the edge because Katsushika's picture does have a hard edge. So I'm going to make that a little darker. Your picture may be completely different. You may need to do something else. You know how it goes dark, light, because the veins in the leaf, oh, see, veins in the leaf, that he just did such a good job on. Oh my gosh, maybe that's why he's called a master, right? Okay. So I'm kind of doing this in a linear pattern. You see how that's starting to duplicate what I'm seeing there? And it's nice that I don't have it all really dark right from the beginning, because then I couldn't do this. This is so easy when you just build it up in layers. Look how pretty that is. That just looks great right there. That's fun. Okay. So as you shade, you will correct your drawing. I want to come up here to my little grasshopper to kind of show you some of the things there. So I'm still keeping my hand on this paper because I don't want to, and maybe I'll even make this paper bigger because I don't want this part of my arm to drag stuff around either. So on my little grasshopper, there's a lot of lines on this little guy. Okay, and I couldn't draw them very well and transfer them very well. So I left that hard part for this. So I've got some main lines in here. I certainly did a good job of getting my antennas right, which I'll probably come over with a darker pencil, with a softer pencil. But I want to come in here to this little guy and go, okay, so all the time you're shading, you're also drawing. That's what I'm trying to say here. You're also drawing. There's a little joint on my grasshopper about right there, and that line goes about like that. And then there's a little bit of shading in there, but it's pretty light. Okay. And then we've got his little mouth. I've got a negative shape here that's going to help me here. So I've got a negative shape there, and it's this one right here. I don't know if you can see it from there, but hopefully you can. And then this little foot comes up like that, and then his face. Let's see, I need to work. If you get really confused about a part, it's really, really helpful to go somewhere else and move in on it. I don't know how to explain that very well, but if you move in on the hard parts, it looks like I do that a little bit wrong there. I can, and